What is the Price of TV Stardom? By Lloyd Shearer, Parade West Coast correspondent in Hollywood. 5 years ago, the name Jim Arness, then 28 cents, could buy you a cup of coffee in any Filmland restaurant. Today, the same name without a penny brings unlimited credit. The fawning of every headwaiter in town daily offers to endorse, at $1,000 a crack, a variety of products from saddles to soap. The reason, of course, is that Jim Arness is the star of Gunsmoke, television's #1 program. This Western, which went on the air in 1955, is currently viewed each week by 30 to 40 million watchers. To many of them, Big Jim Arness, as Marshal Matt Dillon of Dodge City, is the bravest, most reliable, heroic character on television. To Arness, 36, 6 feet 6.5 inches, 230 pounds, these past 5 years have been like a dream. Yesterday, we finished our 195th Gunsmoke episode, and on the way home, I took inventory of things. And for a guy who a few years ago was living the life of a beach bum, I've done pretty well. I've got a Thunderbird, a 1,000-acre ranch, and a 40-foot boat. I've also got my own production company. I've also got 3 fine kids. See cover. In fact, the only thing I haven't got is a marriage. Virginia and I are busted up. That's the price I've had to pay for success. It's a darn high one, too. And I don't think I'll get married again, not for many, many years. Not until the kids have grown up. This TV business is not conducive to successful marriages. Because of his huge bulk, Big Jim gives the impression that he is the type of friendly, easygoing extrovert who rarely examines the inner workings of conscience. The truth is that he is an extraordinarily sensitive, intelligent, objective, and analytical man. A few months ago, when his wife apparently attempted suicide in Honolulu because of their separation, Arness did everything he could to help. Then, one evening when the mess was over and he had succeeded in restoring some workable balance to their relationship, he sat down and reconstructed, turn by turn, the road of his life that had brought him to this crisis. In 1942, James Arness, son of a medical supply salesman, was a freshman at Beloit College, Wisconsin. Drafted into the Army, he was shipped overseas with the 3rd Infantry Division, was badly wounded in Italy. Jim got his discharge in 1945 with a small disability pension. He went back to Minneapolis, got a job as a disc jockey at radio station WLOL. When a friend, Dick Bremiker, decided to chance an acting career in Hollywood, Jim agreed to go along just as excess baggage. He was 22, footloose and fancy-free. In Hollywood, Bremiker signed up with a little theater group. Big Jim hung around during rehearsals. One day, an actor failed to show up. Arness was asked to take his part. He knew the lines and gave a creditable performance. Many agents in the movie colony have long contended that we can take any man who is taller than 6'2" with a pleasant personality and make him into a movie star, not an actor, but a movie star. Arness possessed these requisites. After acting at the Bliss Hayden Theater in Beverly Hills for a few nights, he aroused the interest of Leo Lance, an agent. Lance took him around to meet Dore Sherry, then head of RKO. Sherry was casting a Loretta Young star, the farmer's daughter. A strong believer in young talent, Sherry offered Big Jim a job at $250 a week for 3 weeks. Since Arness had never been in front of a movie camera, Sherry thought the salary a fair one. Agent Lance didn't. "Look, Dore," he said, "this boy is a war veteran. He was shot to pieces at Anzio. He needs the dough. Give him a break." Sherry raised the ante to $400 a week. The picture lasted 17 weeks, and Arness ended up with $5,000 after taxes. This was more money than he'd ever had. He slipped into his old car, equipped with stove and sleeping bag, drove to Mexico, lived on the beaches for almost a year until the money ran out. Back to Hollywood, he came for another steak. Only this time, no one in pictures would hire him. He worked as a carpenter, a salesman, a day laborer. When it was warm, he slept on the beaches. When it was cold, in a sleeping bag in the rear of his car. He existed on his small monthly GI check, and gradually he became discouraged, disillusioned, and embittered. A tall, attractive, well-built girl he met at the Pasadena Playhouse brought a little sunshine and purpose into his life. Her name was Virginia Chapman, and she, too, was lonely. She'd just gone through an unhappy marriage and had a son, Craig. "I was looking for someone," she admits, "who needed and wanted me, someone I could love." Jim and Virginia co-starred in Candida at the Pasadena Playhouse. Friendship ripened into love. One morning, the pair drove to Santa Barbara and were married. Arness had virtually no money. His father-in-law went to the bank and proffered a token payment of $20 a month. But prosperity soon arrived for Big Jim. He began getting parts around town. Dore Sherry, now at MGM, gave him a leading role in Battleground. In 3 years, Arness appeared in 20 featured roles. In 1952, John Wayne took a liking to Jim and put him under contract for his first time in his career. Later, Jim Arness found a modest agent, George Fisher. In 1955, hunting for talent, television executives offered Wayne some fantastic sums of money to star in a new Western series. Wayne refused all such offers and instead threw Jim in as a substitute. He said, "Try and get yourself a start in TV, Jim, because if you make it there, you'll make it in movies. You're too tall. Actors like me and Gregory Peck and Gary Cooper don't want you towering over us." So Big Jim entered the field of 25 candidates who auditioned for the Matt Dillon role in Gunsmoke. He won it, then wasn't sure he wanted it. Wayne made up his mind for him. "Don't be a jerk," he ordered. "This is the opportunity of your life. Take it." Big Jim took it. Then his marriage began to loosen at the seams. It's an old Hollywood story. The loving wife spurs, drives, and encourages her husband. Frequently, she teaches him all she knows about acting, which may be considerable. Whenever he gets a part, she cues him on his lines. When work is scarce, she bolsters his sagging spirits. At other times, they live in shabby quarters. Often, the wife works at odd jobs to help meet expenses. Occasionally, her family contributes something. The wife rarely tells her husband of these small gifts from her parents, but he knows the truth, and it hurts his ego. Then he's a star. He goes from one agent to another. He makes the rounds of all the casting departments. He scrupulously follows every lead to a part, takes anything that pays a buck. Somewhere along the line, he gets a break. He does well in one picture. After that, jobs are easier to secure. As he establishes a small reputation, he finds, strangely enough, that his home life is deteriorating. With Jim, the deterioration became acute as Gunsmoke got underway. He spent time learning to ride and handle firearms. He worked at the studio 12 or 13 hours a day. He was tired when he got home, had less time for his wife and children than ever before. One of the requisites for success in Hollywood is dedication to one's career. An acting career is nothing that can be sloughed off. Last year, CBS and Arness signed a new long-term contract. It gave Arness his own producing company, which now produces Gunsmoke in association with the network, and assured Jim the role of Matt Dillon, so long as Gunsmoke is in existence. By then, however, Big Jim's marriage had gone south. His wife says she felt left out. that the men surrounding her husband regarded her as an irritant, that she was subject to all the hostilities and frustrations that are the usual lot of the Hollywood wife. She felt miserable, unhappy, unwanted. When she complained to Jim, he said he was doing the best he could under the circumstances. He was beset by a dozen pressures. A neglected wife was a stock part in the Hollywood success pattern, and Virginia was stuck with it. Virginia Arness decided to take a trip around the world to forget Big Jim. She visited London, Paris, Vienna, Tokyo, Hong Kong. Nothing helped. No woman can run away from herself. In Honolulu, where she and Jim had gone 7 years before, when John Wayne had given him a small part in a film, she worked herself into a black depression, tried to take her life. Fortunately, she suffered only superficial wounds to her wrists. Today, she and Big Jim are working on a friendly divorce settlement. Jim takes the children, Craig, 12, Jenny Lee, 8, and Rolf, 6, on his boat every possible weekend, and Virginia has decided to return to her acting career. Jim lives in a one-bedroom apartment and spends most of his time working, has turned over his house in Pacific Palisades to his wife. He has no home life, but is considered one of the greatest successes in show business. In fact, the male Cinderella of TV. When I asked him if he thought he had paid a fair price for his success, he meditated for several moments, then said slowly, "I started with nothing, and I lost my marriage. But heck, I've come a long, long way. Years from now, I'll learn that everything else isn't enough. But right now, it suits me fine."